Has it been a while since you flipped that thermostat from heat to cool? Turn to the experts at Griffith Energy Services before you do for an $88 AC start and check to make sure your AC is in tip-top shape. Griffith specializes in Carrier, but services all brands. Visit griffitenergyservices.com today. Your local Carrier expert. That's griffitenergyservices.com. License number MD HVACR 01-2278.
Griffith Energy Services. Doggone dependable.
This month, the Delvin Cox Experience has two sponsors, my brother, Kelvin Cox, and also Mike Fowler from the Cousin Cecil Show. Make sure you check out Mike Fowler on twitch.tv/Cousin Cecil. Also, check out his podcast, The Cousin Cecil Show, anywhere you get podcasts. I mean, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and also YouTube. And last but not least, check out Mike Fowler on Twitter at Mike Fowler 93. Thank you. Welcome to the experience. Welcome to the experience. Welcome to the experience. Welcome to the Delvin Cox Experience, the podcast, which I am on a one-man mission. See, now I'm close to the verse. I completely skipped the whole part, but fuck it. That's what I'm doing. I am your host, Delvin Cox, and with this week on the podcast, I have a special guest on the podcast, a returning guest. The best way I can describe this brother is he's the Pee Wee Kirkland of podcasting. He is the internet legend. He is somebody in the podcasting community that people talk about, that people know about, that people love and adore. People, I don't know, I guess they kind of, if you listen to podcasts, every time I listen to a podcast, I hear this name often brought up with high respect, and I always appreciate that. The man who needs no introduction on the experience this week returning is Mr. Baylor the Great. How you doing, brother?
I mean, at this point, we might as well just let the fireworks go off. You know what I mean? The smoke machine and all that other good stuff. You know what I mean? The way you brought me out, I feel like we about to get a wrestling match going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, I had to give you the all-out good welcome, brother, because it's been a minute since you've been on it either way, though. Definitely.
I appreciate it, and it has been a while. And you know what? Like, let me tell you how long it's been. Like, remember we were supposed to do me, you, Chaffee, Sean, and I think Mike. We were supposed to come up with like the top 5 fast food joints or something like that.
Yes.
And that was like, at this point, maybe a couple years ago.
Yeah, and we stole the idea and made garbage opinions.
yeah. And you know what, though? I love it. You know what I'm saying? As long as I get an invite whenever.
Oh, that's going to definitely happen.
At least someone took it and ran with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we still go back and forth. A lot of people don't know this is a few years we've been going back and forth with the waffles and the pancakes.
Yeah. Yeah, quite some time now. Now I think about it. Yeah. Also, yeah, the next time we do an episode, matter of fact, we haven't done an episode about fast food restaurants yet, so we'll definitely have you on for that one.
Okay.
But as always, we'd like to start the podcast off with the 5 for 5. 5 questions, 5 answers to get the ball rolling. Baylor, are you ready?
Absolutely.
All right. Question number 1. What is the best album or song you listened to in this past year? Doesn't have to be new, as you know already.
The best album this year?
Yeah, this past year. Let's say the past 6 months.
That's definitely Victoria Monet, Jaguar.
Okay.
And when I tell you, like, that's going to probably go into my top. I'm gonna say this right now. I'm probably going to my top 10 of all time. This album was phenomenal.
That's dope. That's real dope, man. All right. Question number 2. This is an interesting question. I have to give you different questions because you've been on the podcast for. Question number 2. What is the best new podcast you listen to lately?
The best new?
Yeah.
It's a few of them because what I do is for the podcast that's not consistent, I kind of like bump them out of the way to listen to new podcasters So I want to say Toxic Kings is one.
Okay.
Who else that's new besides the Toxic Kings? There's some other ones, but I don't know them because they're so new. I don't really. I know I stick with the Toxic Kings because, first of all, that's a cold name for
Real
one.
good name.
And I just finished listening to one of their latest episodes. But yeah, I know the Toxic Kings, and there's a few other ones as well.
Okay,
That's
a good answer. So for those listening, go check out the Toxic Kings.
Oh, my bad. Let me not forget. Pay respect to my hometown boys, the Back House, based out of LA. So yeah, young cat doing his thing. Yeah, the Back House for sure.
Okay, I like that. I like those choices right there. All right, question number 3. This gonna be a fun one for you. Give me your top 5 Lakers.
Oh, top 5 Lakers. That's gonna be Magic, Kobe, Kareem, Worthy, and
Lakers got a lot.
And Caruso. No, just playing. Caruso ain't make that one. Not yet. The 5th one, oh man. That would probably go to Byron Scott.
No Shaq?
I thought I did put Shaq in there. I didn't?
No, I don't think so. You put Magic, Worthy, Kobe.
Oh, that's what I did. When I was thinking of Shaq, I was thinking of Kareem. All right, my bad. I gotta bump B Scott down, but that's my guy because he a hometown legend.
I like B Scott.
Yeah. I mean, technically I ain't gotta change. That's a hometown legend. But Shaq was different. Yeah, I got Shaq in there. So Shaq, Kareem, Kobe, Magic, and Worthy.
The Lakers is just kind of a stacked history in terms of their roster. Like you can even go Vadi Divac. Like, and that's crazy to say that, but like if you would put Vadi Divac on any other team, people be like, oh yeah, that dude's not only a Hall of Famer, but that's like one of the greatest players of all time on this team. And he might not even make the top 10 on the Lakers.
Right. It's a lot. I mean, the only team that's out there that can compete would be Boston.
Yeah, I agree.
Boston got a cold roster. Besides that, no, I'll put it to you like this. Just like how the championships are run down, that'll probably be how the all-time rosters will run down too. So I know we're gonna have issues with Boston, and then you gotta throw in Houston. They got a cold historical roster.
Houston,
San Antonio got one. Chicago got one too. It's just not as deep. Like after probably that top 5, it's over.
Yeah, Miami's getting that.
Miami for sure. Yeah. Miami, hell yeah, Miami.
They got some.
I mean, it's a lot of the Phoenix Suns.
Phoenix is really good.
Phoenix Suns. I mean, because I'm saying everybody. So like when I say the Bulls, you know Derrick Rose is going to be on there.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? So with the Phoenix Suns, they're going to have Booker on.
Yeah.
You know, who's to say that he would be a starter, but he would definitely be on that all-time roster. Yeah, even though I don't feel like he's going to finish his career in Phoenix.
I don't think so either, personally.
Yeah. But he will be if he was to go to the Hall of Fame, even if he won championship with another team, I feel like he gotta go in as Phoenix as of right now.
I would think so, yeah. All right. Question number 4. Give me the top 3 best hood movies.
Boys in the Hood, New Jack City, Menace to Society.
Those are 3 solid ones. I like those. All right. Question number 5. You're going to do some research and think on this for a little bit, all right?
Okay.
All right. I asked somebody in the previous episode this that you probably haven't heard yet because it hasn't even come out yet. Thanos is coming to Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to take 5 musicians to take out Thanos with the power of music. And you can use anybody you want to. Like, for example, if you want to use Michael Jackson and his abilities that he had, Moonwalker and all that stuff, you can use Michael Jackson. So 5 musicians to take down Thanos. Who are you getting?
I'm going Pac, DMX, Michael Jackson, Prince, Rihanna.
That's a solid lineup. You came with that lineup fast, too.
Yeah, Pac. So obviously I got Pac and DMX. That's going to be for we getting the blood pumping. So you know what we're getting from those two. That's the violent part, right?
Yeah, very violent.
Prince come in because you already know, like Jamie Foxx said, it's the odds with Prince. Never look into Prince's eye, right?
That's a fact.
What a lot of people don't know about MJ is MJ was hood.
Very.
Behind closed doors, he was hood. So he got hands, he got the glove. You mentioned the moonwalk. He has music that everybody grew up to. So I know Thanos listened to the Jackson 5.
Yes, I agree. I think Thanos listened to Jackson 5.
And who doesn't like, for the Supreme setup, who doesn't like Rihanna?
Yeah, that's a good point. Including Thanos, I think Thanos will have second opinions if you think about snapping away Rihanna. He's not just going to do that.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's my fight right there.
I like it. So what's going on, brother? How's everything been going with you? You are the man of, much like they say about me, 1,000 podcasts. You're doing a whole bunch of podcasts, man. How's it going? Let everybody know, what are you doing now for those who don't know?
I'm essential. I'm an essential worker. So I've been out in these streets. Since the lockdown. By the grace of God, I've been good. You know what I mean? I took a few COVID tests. I'm about to get the vaccine. My wife just took the first vaccine today.
That's great.
I took a client to go get a vaccine today. And just been, I just been recording, making some clothes, being on other people's shows and stuff like that. And my platinum line is just staying out the way.
Oh, that's dope, man. You do BTG for president, open run with BTG. What's the other one you do?
So the Breaks Media, that's the Breaks Radio. And then I also do Black Horror Humor on Sunday. Well, we don't drop on Sunday. We drop. I think we drop whenever, but it takes a lot with the editing because we have visuals. So for some reason I didn't know this, but now that I know that, I sit there and think about it. I do 4 podcasts a week.
That's how I hit you, boy. When you don't even think about it, like I look at my podcast and I'm like, damn, I do a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, so between BTG for President and Open Run with BTG, I got the Breaks Radio and Black Horror Humor. And then, whoever else that I'm invited on or, how that go.
Let me ask you this, man. How has it been for you just dealing with this whole pandemic stuff? You was a dude before this pandemic happened. I know you was heavy into basketball, going out there playing basketball every day and stuff like that. Now this pandemic hit. Can't necessarily do it like you want to do it. You can't go out there and hoop like you want to. Everything changed. The world got rocked. How you been coping with it?
You know what? In the beginning, it was fun at first because we got to sit at home. You know what I mean? And it was just like being on punishment with your family. You know what I mean? And so that I got back into video games a lot, because it had died off for a little bit, dove into that for a minute. And then I would honestly say if it wasn't for COVID, I'm not sure if I would have been able to get as deep as I am with Baylorism with the merchandise that I make, because I had bought a cricket for my wife to begin with. And I guess because of the extra time that instead of waiting for her, because she has she got a job that she has to attend to, and she had got a raise, and a raise comes with more responsibility. So she wasn't able to dive into the crafting as much. So I took it upon myself to go on YouTube University, salute, to learn how to cricket myself. And I picked that up. We spent a lot of money during the pandemic. But as far as dealing with it, we still traveled. We didn't travel as much. You know what I mean? And we didn't travel far. Like we didn't get on any airplanes or anything like that. I think in a couple of weeks, it'll be our first time on an airplane in a few years. But you know, we went to local areas like Vegas and Phoenix, things like that. So besides the smoke-free weekend event that we wasn't able to really, it wasn't really able to take off like that. That was the one thing that I did wish we could have actually did. You know, not the right way, but the way that it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I think that's one of the great tragedies of this whole COVID-19 situation that I think we took for granted. Those moments of going outside and communicating. I got to give you props for that because you've always been the one like, hey, we all need to link up and do something because you never know what might happen. And then something happens where we really can't link up and do something. It's like, damn.
Right.
We linked up.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, the basketball thing, of course, that affected everybody because remember, you know, college sports, we didn't have March Madness last year. You know, basketball was pushed back. It was just, you know, it was different. But now, you know, it's starting to get back to a little bit towards the normal side. My son has been hooping, and yeah, we back to it. The only thing that kind of bothers me that we can't get back is that by the time he's able to go back onto or to actually officially go onto a high school campus, he'll be a 10th grader. He'll be a sophomore. Yeah. You know what I mean? So he missed, and to me, honestly, the 10th grade is kind of like the middle child, which I am a middle child, so I can speak on it. It's kind of like the middle child. It's still important, but you kind of forget about it because of your younger one and the oldest one. You know what I mean? Yeah. That 9th grade, that's when you get your feet wet and stuff like that. 10th grade, you're already settled in. The 11th grade is important because you know next year is going to be your last year. And then obviously, you know, your last year, your senior year, that's major in itself. So for them to miss the whole entire 9th grade year of a full high school experience, I'm like, dang, that's kind of messed up.
That does suck. Yeah, I look at it with my kids in terms of, well, they're homeschooling now completely, but just those moments of not being able to do little things the kids do. Like before the whole pandemic started, my daughter was going to like this magnet school. Mm-hmm. So every other month they would go on field trips and stuff like that. And her last field trip was to Orlando, Disney World. And they had a blast and stuff like that. And now she's sitting in the house and knowing that no more field trips, nowhere in sight because of this pandemic. That kind of sucks.
Especially not to Disney World. You know what I mean?
Like no Disney World, her school is really close to like a art museum. So they used to have to go to the art museum and study stuff there and things like that. And they would do a whole bunch of stuff like that. Now all that stuff's gone. She just had to sit in front of a computer till 3 o'clock doing schoolwork.
Yeah, man.
That sucks.
Yeah. Not being able to go to the movies. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't necessarily, I actually like being able to watch movies from the comfort of my own couch. But there are certain, you being a Marvel fan know this, it's different when you sitting in a room full of Marvel fans and they pick up on the Easter eggs and certain things that a casual Marvel fan wouldn't get. You know what I mean? And it's different. Like, you know, when Captain America was able to get Thor's hammer, that was a big deal in the movie theaters. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't think that hits the same if I'm at home and I see that. You know, I ain't gonna lie to you. I still get goosebumps to see that. But it hits different.
Yeah, it's weird because so far I've seen, I want to say 3 to 4 movies this year that was supposed to be in theaters. So I saw Soul.
Yeah, phenomenal.
I saw Wonder Woman 84. And I saw Judas and the Black Messiah. And I felt like Wonder Woman 84's experience in particular was hurt a lot because I wasn't in theaters.
Mm-hmm. And I heard it was meh.
It was mid, but I feel like when I watched it in the theaters, I'd have probably enjoyed it more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Even though it was mid, it was like, okay, I would enjoy this more with the crowd watching it and enjoying the hype scenes and stuff like that. As opposed to me watching The Soul and watching Judas and the Black Messiah, me sitting at home enhanced those experiences. In terms of those two movies in particular, because when I was watching Judas and the Black Messiah, it felt like I was watching a documentary almost. And I got enthralled into that story to the point where I was like visibly upset. Like, what the fuck, man? This is like,
especially if you knew the fact before the movie, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So you knew you was already going there with an upset, kind of sad type of vibe. I probably would have preferred to stay home to watch that. So either or, I'm good with staying at home or going to the movies to go see that. And Wonder Woman, she just doesn't do it for me. So I probably would enjoy that at home.
Yeah, it's just crazy how everything has changed. Like even now, as we're recording this podcast, Tom and Jerry, that's what be in theaters, is now
Tom and Jerry
at home. We're gonna get Godzilla in another couple weeks, I think.
I might want to go to the movies for that.
Yeah, it's
just for the sound effect.
Yeah, it's just crazy to think that so much has changed in just a year. Like, I used to go to the movies every week. That was like my thing. Me and my son used to go to movies every week. We'd go to my grandma's house, take care of her. After we leave my grandma's house, we'd go to the mall and go to the movies and watch like the matinee. The matinee down here is like $7. Mm-hmm. So I would pay like $14 for both of us to get in and buy like a bucket of popcorn. We probably spend like $30-$40 and make a day out of it. And now
that's on the cheap side.
Yeah, and that's gone. Like, it's crazy to say that. That's gone. And I don't see it come back anytime soon. It's crazy to just even say that. So
yeah.
Watching these movies at home, it's okay, but it's not the same.
Yeah. I would say the most part. I mean, the movie. Of course, we was affected with about the entertainment because a lot of stuff got pushed back. You know what I mean? So whatever was in the making, came to a halt, and we had to wait on that. For example, like I think Snowfall was pushed back, and we just got it back.
This week, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, no, a couple of days ago, actually on Wednesday.
Yeah, so that's really close then.
Yeah. But but I would say besides sports and traveling, everything else was fine.
Yeah, I think so, man. It's kind of different, man. Just sitting back, how everything went this year. Let me ask you this then. How has it been for you podcasting during this pandemic?
Shit, ain't nothing changed. I mean, actually it got better because, majority of my guests, when I do have guests, are in different time zones. So because of a lot of people that had to stay home or could work from home and stuff like that, it worked out better for me because they didn't have to get up early. You know what I mean? To drive or commute and things like that. So, podcasting, I think it got better during the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean? I agree because people got used to using Zoom and stuff like that. And not only just us as podcasts, but people who normally wouldn't use Zoom because that's how they did work now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And there's so many different, within the pandemic, there were so many different outlets to choose from to record, So I think a lot of them tech heads said this is a perfect opportunity for us to come up with something to where we can allow these people to work from home instead of everybody going over to Zoom. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different recording platforms now.
Yeah, I want to have a conversation with you about something because you talked about it on your podcast before. Stereo versus Clubhouse.
Yes.
I am confused. I'm not confused because I don't know how I use it, but I'm trying to I just got in the Clubhouse in terms of somebody just gave me an invite to Clubhouse. I kind of accepted it and stuff like that.
It's a huge difference.
I'm still trying to figure out the allure of it in terms of for the most part, what I've been hearing, and I think it's because of the people I follow, people who follow me, it feels like I'm coming into multiple school lectures.
No, I would. The best way to describe Clubhouse is actually like a house party. Just depend on which house party you go in. So me personally, I rarely, and when I mean rarely, that means there's a small percentage of me that will go into a room where I don't know anybody. I will do it, but rarely. Just think of you going, like you see me, and it's like, all right, Baylor's at this house party. Let me go see what's going on in this house party. Okay. That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And the thing is, don't be fooled by the topic, the room topic, because we never stay on topic unless the person the people or the person that's moderating the room, if they're keeping it structured. You know what I mean? Some people can do it. Some people don't do it. Some people can't do it. But we can have a topic about Marvel. It'll say Marvel room. And we could be sitting up there talking about the best movies Marvel has produced or whatever. But then if you don't know how to moderate a room, if you don't know how to control a room, it can go from talking about Marvel movies to any type of.
Okay. Because a mutual friend of ours had me in a couple of rooms. He I guess you could ping people to the rooms.
Yeah.
He pinged me to a few rooms, and each one of these rooms he pinged me to were like these self-help rooms.
Yeah, man. You're going to get those.
It's like, why am I here? I get what you're trying to do. You're trying, all right, check this out. This might be interesting to you. But
just look at it as Twitter. It's really no different. It's really no different from Twitter, except that on Twitter you can't help but to see what's on your timeline.
Yeah.
Same thing with Clubhouse. You can see, quote unquote, if you want to call it a timeline of rooms, but you only know those rooms. Just like on Twitter, you only know those rooms because of the people that you actually follow.
Yeah.
So if someone pings you, that's the same as someone retweeting something and tagging you.
Okay, there we go.
So you don't necessarily have to go there if they ping you. They just figure whatever the topic is, or whatever they just finished talking about, or whatever they just finished asking about, Delvin could definitely use this, help with, or might be interested in.
Okay, that makes sense. So let me ask you this. What is proper Clubhouse etiquette?
The number one rule to me is read the room. The number one thing, because I know Delvin, when he come in there, he might ask a podcast question. The thing is, 90% of the people has never been on a podcast. They might get offended by the question that you ask. Shout out to my boy Greg, Young Black and Bothered. He come in there, Drake, my boy Drake, Mr. D713 from Everything Culture. They'll come in there with their podcast present, and a lot of people don't understand that. And it's not their fault, because I come in a room and I'm comfortable. If I come in a room and Delvin is in there, I might come in there and say something slanderous about Captain America. You might get it.
Yes.
But somebody be like, what is this dude even talking about? And it's a joke. You got to understand, some people don't have a sense of humor.
At all.
You know what I mean? So it's all about reading the room. But I can tell you this, say Mike and Otis have a room, and Sean is in there, Chaffee is in there, you in there, and I go in there and say something crazy about Captain America, everybody gonna laugh because we all get it. You know what I mean? But if somebody else come in that room and say, look, I know the perfect stocks to get into, we're gonna like, wait a minute, what are you doing? That's not what we're talking about. It might be helpful insight and shit like that, but we're talking about Captain America right now. What you talking about?
Definitely. So
it's all about the number one rule. The number one rule is read the room. You know what I'm saying? And if they just so happen to ask you to come up and you go in there, just go in there, be like, look, I just came into this room. I saw the title. It said, y'all talking about burning wood. I want to learn more about burning wood or whatever y'all talking about. And then boom, put your mic on mute. And that's another thing. Always have your mic on mute until you're about to speak.
Okay, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. All right, Bill, let me ask you this. I want to talk about your merchandise because haven't gotten to that much, and I think you heard the previous episode, me and Paco talking about supporting each other in our endeavors in the Black community and stuff like that.
Shout out to Paco. He's a recurring customer. Gotta shout out Paco.
Definitely. What is it like, and how has it been thus far making these shirts, sweaters, hats, and everything that you're making so far?
It's stressful and it's fun.
I'm glad that you're getting such a great response from it, by the way. I think that's dope.
Well, the thing is like, I have this thing about people who want to be famous. I don't want to be famous. If I am famous, I want to be hood famous. You know what I mean? What that is that I'm still able to go to Target without being bothered.
Yeah.
Without being noticed by a large amount of people. But if there's one or two people that see me and say, hey, I know you, you're that, I'm cool with that. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm not able to travel a certain way. You know what I mean? What I mean by that is that these shirts and hoodies and more to come, it took off way too fast.
Yeah, but that's a good thing.
It is. At the same time, it's like when you don't plan or you had no intention on becoming a retail store.
Yeah.
Now you got to catch up with the business side. You know what I mean? Because I take all orders through DM. You know what I mean? And there's a stereotype of that being ghetto. You know what I mean? But I'm like, yo, I never, even though this is almost being close to a year, it's only going, I would say in March, maybe April, somewhere around there. And I want to say somewhere around April, it'll be a full year where I really learned how to put this stuff together. So every month I've been developing and getting better at how to do this stuff. And is handcrafted by one person. So I don't have any employees or anything like that. Everything is done by me. So that's the stressful part. And then the other stressful part is when people be like, yo, this is dope. I want this. Can you make me this? I absolutely can make that. But then don't send me money.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean? And I get
thing.
it. I get it. A professional company, they already have stuff stocked up unless it's sold out. But for the most cases, it's already stocked up. So if you want this, a burgundy sweater in a large, boom, that's all you got to do is click, buy it, and then, you know, whatever, the shipping process. I don't have that. I don't have anything stocked up because originally I was just making stuff to pass time. It was in the middle of a pandemic. So I'm just doing stuff for fun. If I'm not doing it for fun, I'm doing it to make it for myself. So I don't have anything stocked up. So everything that has to be made, I have to go get. Mind you, I'm one person. I'm not even a company yet. So I don't have the resources to go get a sweater in this color yet. You know what I mean? Let alone front my own money to go find something. You know, so and I have been, I hate to use the word lucky. I'm blessed. I have been blessed enough to create some stuff and get it to people within the same week. But that's not normal coming from an individual. You know what I mean? Maybe from a company, but for me to print it up on a Monday and you get it within a couple of days or within the same week, bro, that's a lot of work.
I think the way you carry yourself makes people have a high expectation for you. I don't know if you know what I mean by that, but you carry yourself in a way that like you know what you're doing. And you've always done that. You always have this aura around you. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, everybody knows who BTG is. If there's two voices I hear out there, and I've always made this comment, I'll say, BTG is the hood version of me in terms of my podcast and who I am always gets a devoted level of white listeners and followers, some black listeners as well.
Mm-hmm.
But BTG brings the best out of black people in terms of you get the hood black people, you get the smart black people. And I always love the fact that anytime I have somebody on the podcast who's African American, they would casually bring up your name and your podcast and speak highly of it.
I appreciate that.
That's dope. And I think because of you being to that level, you may not be getting the views or listens of a Joe Budden per se, but because you're at the level you're at with podcasting, people hold you to that level in terms of like, yeah, BGG got us merchandise. Let's get this merchandise. Oh, ain't no problem. It's BGG. We know he got us. And I think it's good things with that and it's bad things with that.
It's good and bad because a company will say, well, if this is what you want, then this is what we got. So if you want it, then buy it. I struggle with what a lot of people don't understand is I have a very high level of confidence. I do. And I can sit up there and tell you whatever I make, I know is dope.
Yeah.
At the same time, I strive for perfection and being somewhat different. And that is, I want you to be able to say, BTG, I want this phrase or this color. But that's a struggle in itself because now I have to go find something to that customer's likeness. And if I can't find it, I feel like I failed. And if I don't get it to you this fast, then I failed. Or, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I didn't put enough on a hoodie. You know what I mean? Until someone told me, they was like, look, bro, you're doing too much.
Yeah.
Put out whatever you're going to put out, and then they're going to buy it. That's it. Don't give them too many options. And I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
So that's that's my negative part. That's my downfall is that being a creator, I have too many options. I think everything that I do is dope, but everything doesn't need to be out there.
Makes perfect sense. All right, switching gears a little bit. I want to talk to you about two things. One is funny, one is interesting. The first thing I want to bring up to you, well, three things actually. The first thing, have you seen the video? It's a TikTok video of a white lady talking about how to crip walk.
Yes.
What did you think of that? And how that would have fared if the same white lady made that video, let's say 95, mid-95, 1995.
If they would have made it in 95, that means they would have put a lot of money to put that on the VHS tape. I laugh, but at the same time, I'm old enough to know that, bro, we are the culture.
Yes.
Like we control the culture and we don't control it all the way. You know what I mean? Like all these creative dances and the music and the ideas for these movies and things like that. You just finished asking me the top 3 hood movies, all black.
Yeah.
Majority of that cast was black. And when you look at the storylines of those movies, you can tell it's from a black background.
Yes, very much so.
We create all this.
When I saw that, I cringed because the old school side of me was like, I remember a time where if you wasn't from LA and you wasn't a Crip, you wasn't supposed to be doing that shit. Like straight up.
I mean, there's still cats like it's a little bit more, it's not as bad as the 90s and the 80s and the 90s. But if you go up into a house party now, which is not, the house party turned into let's go to the club, lounge, or a mansion. They don't have the typical house parties like we had back in the day. But if you get caught doing a Crip walk and you not a Crip, you get caught doing a blood walk and you not a blood, though they got the right to press you under street rules and hood rules. They got the right to press you about that. But it's sad because she's getting a lot of publicity off of it. And there's also a TikTok video of a dude that put out a Crip walking tutorial, a Crip walk workout tutorial. You know what I mean? Which I kind of went viral, but I'm pretty sure she's getting more views than he is.
Yeah. And it's crazy to think about because, and this is my whole thing about it, we as black people get often criticized for glorifying gang culture and things like that. Okay, you can say some of that is valid and fair. But at the same time, you see stuff like this, and you're like, well, white people are just taking what we're doing and glorifying it themselves. So
not only glorifying it, they monetizing off of it.
Yes. So how do you sit there and how do you correlate those two things in terms of, okay, black people glorifying gangs and violence and stuff like that, but yet white culture is profiting off of our culture, including our violence? How is that a thing?
Because the only thing that they could do is the only games that they could monetize off of that they probably created, the mob,
and the FBI.
That's FBI. I don't want to look. We create a lot of stuff that they monetize off of. And the cool part about it is that they're creative too. It's just that we create dope shit.
Yeah, they are very creative. They just,
how many times, Delvin, I've said to myself, "Oh, that's dope." Put it on a shirt or tweet it, and then anywhere, like a couple of weeks down the line, or maybe even a year down the line, I see my idea. Not to say that I'm the sole purpose. I'm not the only person that came up with it, but I'm pretty sure, like at the time, nobody else was talking about it. I see a lot of not just, I see a lot of podcasters out there with a little BTG in them.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's 100% the thing. I said that before. Like, hey, I see a lot of times people take a little Delvin Cox Experience swagger and throw it on their podcast.
Yeah.
Like I don't notice it. Like,
yeah. And the thing that bothers me is the same thing about old girl with the whole crip walking tutorials that, bro, you got to pay homage.
Yeah. 100%.
You got to pay respect. Know that, look, first of all, that's not how you do the crip walk, white lady. Okay. At all. And second, if you're going to do that, bro, you need to go talk to somebody. You need to go to some of these neighborhoods. Why not go to some of these neighborhoods where they actually know how to crip walk and hire you?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You know what I mean? And don't go on Twitter and say. And look, I will say this, because my thing is, if I say something like "good answer," you know who I got that from? Where did I get that from?
Me.
Okay. I know that. So if I go on to another show or if I tweet "good answer," if I don't acknowledge that you came up with that, honestly, I was just telling somebody that's a good answer. Right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, that's Delvin Cox right there. Good and answer has been here before we was born. But the way that man says it or whatever, and as often as he says it, man, that belonged to him.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing. And people point that out a lot. So I don't understand how people cannot.
There's not another podcast. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Whether I listen to them on a consistent basis or not, I've never heard somebody say "good answer" the way you say it, as often as you say it. Never. So if you see cats out here saying "set tripping" or "that person is a pedestrian" or something like that, niggas don't want on Twitter saying that before I was saying it
at all. So let me ask you this, because this is going on another part. We was talking about people profiting off of our culture and stuff like that. Bobby Shmurda gets out.
Yes, sir.
The hood is celebrating it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool thing to see.
Yeah.
But also, white culture is celebrating it. And it's weird because, and Mike from the What Up Though podcast brought this up in terms of he didn't understand why people were celebrating Bobby Shmurda, and especially the type of people that were celebrating Bobby Shmurda. Like, what he was referring to was how they got like billboards up.
Right. But I answered him.
Oh, you did too? I had a conversation about it too. I want to hear what your response is about that.
Well, I didn't put it in. Well, what I'm about to say is about to be in more detail. But I basically was telling them that in general, it's New York. And their artists or actors born and raised actors from New York and born and raised artists from New York, they gon' hype them up.
Yeah,
regardless.
That makes sense.
You know, that's what they do. You know what I mean? And as they should, because if you from Houston, if you from LA, you from Florida, you from Jersey, Chicago, if they are that good, you're going to do the most for them. You're going to represent them the most. You know what I'm saying? Bobby Shmurda to them right now, especially after losing Pop Smoke, bro, that's their savior.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, he means a lot to, again, he's from the culture. You know what I mean? And by him being the quote unquote, or at least one of them, saviors of New York, like they're going to do the most for him. You know what I mean? He getting picked up in a private jet by Quavo. You know what I'm saying? He going to have his billboard on Times Square, some shit like that, or the Madison Square Garden. And that's why. Does it make sense to Mike? Maybe not. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I mean, people do get. There has been there was a tweet that I seen a while ago, and it went viral. They was like, "Yo, we celebrate cats more that get released from prison than going off to college."
That's very true.
And I get that. You know what I mean? In this case, when you look at the details of a cat that actually went to jail for his wrongdoings and then took more time so his cats that he went to jail with can get out early, is still a stand-up thing in that situation.
Yeah.
Whereas another representative of New York got out early because of snitching.
Yes, very much so.
And you see what I'm saying?
I think that's where the parallel lies at with this situation in terms of if you're going to be a street dude, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. I think the right way is to stand up for your peoples and take the fall for your people, even if you're sacrificing. I think the wrong way is what 6ix9ine did.
Right. So, I mean, it's to answer Mike's question is that, yeah, you might look at it like, well, wasn't he the reason why he went to jail? Well, I think most cats who did crime, they went to jail because of what they did.
Yeah.
The difference is that he went in as a young cat and he kept his mouth closed and added more onto his sentence to get, his boy out. So that is a small victory in that situation.
Yeah, I think what is happening is people don't understand the glorification of the whole African American person in prison getting out and you're celebrating him getting out type of thing. And I think that's where the divide happens in terms of how, like I told Mike, white culture tends to want to glorify that when they get out, but vilify that when they're going in. You know what I mean? Like when Bobby Shmurda was going in, he wasn't getting this type of buzz from white culture. From black people, yeah, we were like, yeah, do your thing, get in, get out. But white culture wasn't popping him like that. And now that he's getting out, yeah, white culture celebrating him getting out. Yeah, he did things the right way. Like, what are you talking about? You don't know nothing about anything that happened in the situation.
They're riding the wave, though. They probably celebrating his release and don't really even know what's going on. Exactly. They just celebrating because you actually cool with some black folks and you want to feel like you're a part of the cause as well.
Yes, very much so.
You want to know what I think our issue is as black people is that I think we do celebrate people coming back home because I feel like we're the minority. So it's like when we get one of us back, it's like at least we got someone back home. You know what I mean? And we know that sometimes we can be locked up for shit that we didn't do. You know what I mean? So even for a cat that did something, and I feel like, besides, if you're a pedophile, you could burn. You know what I'm saying? If you're a serial killer, you could burn. All those nasty crimes and stuff like that. For a cat that was out there selling drugs, trying to feed his family, for a cat that was lost as a kid and became a gangbanger because that was his family in the streets, got locked up, learned, grew, matured, and things like that. we're happy for them to come back home. You know, and I think we get that mixed up with cats that actually do crime that we're not a fan of, and we know they're supposed to be locked up and throw away the key. We kind of mix all those together, and we're not supposed to do that.
I agree. Final question, and it's the interesting one because of you. We just passed the 1 year anniversary of Kobe Bryant's passing.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean to you today?
I mean,
it hit different, like, man.
Well, because it's like he has so many different anniversaries out here. You know, he got the day that he actually passed away, his memorial service, and then you got actual Kobe Day, you know, which is in August.
Okay.
So it's like I'm like this. And it's maybe because, you know, the way I was raised. And I'm not saying the way I was raised was completely right, but I can go quiet, as most black men do when it comes to pain. You know what I mean? Like I don't really like to talk about my parents. You know what I mean? I don't. You know, I try to avoid it. And sometimes I gotta sit in deep thought to remember their voice. You know what I mean? With Kobe, it's like I still don't want to believe it. So